Hi, everyone. Welcome to Ring Ready Live, the home of the owner handler, brought to you by Showsite Magazine. I'm Dan Sayers, and I'm here alone today. Lee Whittier is traveling to a judging assignment in Vermont. So today's show will be a bit of a monologue. So I'm hoping that I can count on some participation from you so we can turn today's monologue into a conversation. If you are in Vermont and you're going to be showing your dog at the shows in Tunbridge, please look for Lee. Say hello. Let her know that you are a viewer of Ring Ready Live. She'd be delighted to meet you and hear from you. And if you're showing your dog there or anywhere else this coming weekend, best of luck. So today is episode 16 in our series about all things owner handler. And today I'm going to be asking you as exhibitors how you manage your ability to be present, both in your life, in your day, and in your work with your dogs. And so, as always, please leave a comment. Let me know who you are, where you're from. Let me know your breed or breeds. And as the conversation goes on, please feel free to chime in with a comment or two or a question that you may have about being present. So usually when Lee and I are finished with our show each week, we have a conversation with Alex, our producer, and we kind of review the show and we talk about our next program. And recently, I found myself sharing with Lee and Alex that quite often the 30 minutes that we share at Ring Ready Live are the only period of time where I'm really able to be present. Because, like you, I spend much of my day reacting, responding, running, multitasking. And if you know me, I'm really a terrible multitasker. It's one of my Achilles heels, along with my ability to fix IT problems. But this format allows me to turn off my devices, to stay away from my phone, to stay focused on a subject that is near and dear to my heart. I want to say hello before I go on to Tiffany, Carolyn, Annalise, Lori, Megan, Alex. Thank you for joining me today. It's so good to hear from you. Always happy to connect with you each week. And it tells me that maybe you too enjoy this 30-minute period in your week where you can kind of stay focused and be present. You know, without this format, I would be bathing a dog while I was on my laptop, while I was answering email, while I was on a Zoom call, while I was edging my flower bed, while I was calling my parents. You know how it goes. Your life is very much the same. And this is sort of how our dog lives go as well. It's very, very challenging to focus on your dog and on your goals sometimes because of everything else that life is demanding from you. So again, thank you for being here. I hope that you have more than 30 minutes each week where you can kind of be present because when I realized that sometimes I only get this half hour, I realized how important this half hour is in my week, not only my work week, but in my week as a person. And I thought that it might make for an interesting conversation. So I'd like to share with you, if I may, a conversation that I had just this morning. I want to say hi to Jenna and Michelle, Diane, Missy. Hello. Great to have you join me. Feels weird to say me, actually. But this morning, like many of you, or maybe all of you, I went to Facebook before I really jumped into my day, just to find out what's going on, to connect, see who's doing what, who's where. You know how it goes. It's sort of part of our routine. Also part of the reason why we are unable to be present sometimes. But today I was present in Facebook because a Facebook friend who's a real life friend posted a photo that really kind of spoke to me. So this friend lives in a beautiful home that has a spectacular view of a meadow and the mountains beyond. And in the part of the country where she lives, the view is ever changing. You know, from morning to the following morning, every time you look at these mountains, it's a different view. So no two photos are the same. Hi, Dee. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Sarah. Ginger. Welcome. So this view this morning was particularly beautiful. There were clouds, and you could see the rain falling in a very specific part of the mountain. And the whole feeling of this image, hi, Betty. Hi, Linda. This whole view was reminiscent of one of my favorite places in the world, and that was Ireland. And this mountain is indeed magic because it can kind of transport you depending on the sun, the rain, the humidity, the wind. And just for a moment, whether I'm actually on the property or whether I'm looking at a photo on Facebook, I am present, right? Just in that moment. So this morning, I saw this particularly moving image, and I did something that is kind of rare these days. I actually called my friend to say hello. Hi, Cheryl. And guess what? She picked up her phone, and we actually had a conversation. And it was lovely to have this conversation because this friend is very, very dear to me, but also because our conversation kind of spoke to the need to be present. Because, you know, with some people in our lives, a conversation, a real conversation, is a way to be present and to really not think about yesterday or tomorrow necessarily, but to have moments where you're really kind of connecting and you really feel like you are present, as I keep saying. So our conversation turned, as it naturally would, to our dogs. And both my friend and I have young puppies that we are doing our best to prepare to show. And we were talking about our individual dogs and what they're like at the moment. They're both puppies. They're young. They are presenting challenges as puppies do. But it made me realize that oftentimes with our dogs, not just puppies, but with any dogs that we're showing, it's really hard to be present with that dog, isn't it? Oftentimes we are thinking about last week. We may be thinking about our dog's dam or sire and what it was like to show them. We may be comparing the dog in this moment to the dog from yesterday or to its parents or its ancestors. And at the same time, there's a temptation to not be present, not think about the past, but to kind of focus considerably on the future. So if you are showing your dog or getting a dog ready to show, you're very likely setting goals, and you may even be daydreaming about that first point, that first major, the grand championship, the group first, the owner handled best in show, winning your national specialty. You know, the goals are whatever you want them to be, and they are meaningful and they are essential in terms of working towards something with your dog. But sometimes that too can allow some of us, me personally, to kind of forget about the puppy or the dog that's right in front of me. And I'm often challenged by that. And I'm often finding that even in my dog life, I tend to multitask and I tend to not be present. And, you know, so I'm wondering if some of you maybe are having the same experiences in your life, or maybe you have some suggestions that you use to kind of be present. I know that a lot of coaches, and Lee Whittier is the dog show mentor. She is a coach. She provides very good, useful tools, if you will, that can help you not only achieve your goal, but also to be present. I mentioned several weeks ago, maybe a couple of months now, that moments before we went live, we had a technical issue, and it was a bit jarring. Wondering, okay, are we going to pull this off or not? And that's when I saw Lee help me to take a breath, to breathe. Breathing is a really useful tool for being present, both in and out of the ring. Meditation in our lives is a good tool. You know what? Cleaning the kennel is a really useful tool. I don't know about you, but sometimes, cleaning the dog room or cleaning the dog, that is a really, really good way to be present. If you have a breed that needs a lot of grooming, as I do, the dogs really learn to love that time as we learn to love that time. And, sometimes grooming really allows us to be present, as does training. If you are a capable trainer, and if you have somebody who's really there to be supportive, as I did in my friend in our conversation today, she gave me several tools for my toolbox, and I love that analogy. I don't particularly care for tips necessarily, or certainly tricks. I don't like to be tricked, and I don't care to trick anyone, but I do love tools. And so to have some tools to help me with my dog is a really good thing. And my friend gave me these tools that are going to allow me to be present with my puppy in the moment. I have class tomorrow night. I'm going to practice some of these new tools that I've been blessed with, and I'll let you know. I'll let you know how they work, or how I'm able to use these tools. While I'm talking, I'm thinking about a lesson that I learned years ago when I was showing an Irish Water Spaniel, and she won the group. And it was the first time that I'd ever handled a dog that won her group. And she was flawless that day. It was one of those undeniable, she's the winner. I felt it. Certainly the judge had the same impression. And I'll tell you, the dog knew that she was the best thing in the ring that day. So it was a wonderful experience. If you have achieved a goal that you've had for a long, long time, you know that when you achieve it, it is, it's just really pretty, it's just wonderful, But I had a lesson to learn that day, and that was learned in the Best in Show ring. So at that point, I never imagined myself in the Best in Show ring. Curiously, the goal of winning a group was the goal, but I hadn't considered that, oh, by the way, you're not done yet. You've still got to compete again. So I am in the ring with this bitch who's looking as fabulous as she did just a little bit earlier. And I was not present. I made a fatal flaw. And that was, I started to have a conversation not with her, but with myself. And I wasn't present. I was thinking, hey, Dan, you are finally in a Best in Show ring. Why don't you see who you're in here with? And so what did I do? I looked at the dogs behind my Irish Water Spaniel, and I said, oh, there's so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. I wonder who's in front of me. And I turned around and I saw Jimmy Moses with his German Shepherd bitch. And when I turned around to look at my Irish Water Spaniel, she was gone. She had checked out. And I didn't understand then what was happening. But knowing her as I knew her, and knowing what I know now, it's as though that being present with her in that moment was broken. I broke it. It's almost as though I kind of cheated on her, you know, and I focused my attention on that shepherd bitch. And she was disappointed. And she said, "No, I gave you everything I can now. You're not quite ready for the next." And let me tell you, I wasn't going to win that best in show as deserving as she may have been. But the lesson there for me was stay present. You know, use these tools that you've been given, the experience that you've learned, and the rightful award that is waiting for you and your dog that you have worked towards and that you deserve. But just be mindful in that moment. And if you watch handlers at a show, owner handler, professional handler, just a quality handler with their dog, and you really pay attention, I mean, what you're seeing isn't so much a performance as it is a connection. It is that person and that dog, all of their hard work being present in that moment. And that is a really, really powerful thing when you realize what's happening. You know, even this conversation now with you, I am here. You know, it's really an extraordinary thing when you actually find you are present. You know, a lot of competitors will talk about being in the groove, you know, being in the zone. And that really happens. You know, if you've been showing your dog for a while, you know the difference between being out of control, being distracted, being unfocused, and being in the zone. You know, the first time that happened for me was with another Irish Water Spaniel. And this was another Irish Water Spaniel bitch, which, you know, as a breeder, they're my favorite, I have to say. I just love them. And I love the males, but the bitches have just really given me a wonderful ride. And, you know, they've also given me some wonderful puppies. And but this particular bitch, you know, she finished her championship in good form, but she was not as special. You know, I understand that now that she was, you know, she was a divine companion, and she was a pretty good producer, I must say, having been bred twice and produced some very, very fine dogs. But she was not as special. You know, she just wasn't. And at the time, I didn't know that. So I showed her because I enjoyed showing. I enjoyed being at a show with her, and she seemed to like it. And, you know, we never even made a cut in the group, but I just wanted to have a dog of my breed represented at the shows. And at the time, the breed was very, very rare, and you would rarely find one. Finishing one, you know, took an extraordinary amount of traveling, as it does today, but more so then, it seems. But I did show her as a veteran at a national specialty. So I show up, get her ready. I intentionally, you know, trimmed her a certain way because I felt that as she had matured, that she could carry a certain kind of a trim, and quite frankly, I thought she needed it to be competitive. And she was just in great form. You know, my breed is one that at 7, 8, 9, 10, you know, they can be exceptional, and very, very competitive. And she was competitive, but I didn't know how competitive she was until we were in the ring at that specialty veteran sweepstakes, and something happened in that ring. And it never happened before, and it's only occasionally happened since. And that was that she and I were so present in that moment that she was really giving me 100%. And I didn't know what that felt like, but you know, it's a cliche to say that the energy goes up and down the lead. But I will tell you that day, that energy was coming up that lead. And so I thought, wow, this is new. And that energy really, really helped me to be present in that moment. And so I telepathically had a conversation with her and I said, wow, this is great. Where did this come from? I was thinking, where have you been hiding this? She was a show dog in that moment. She was just spectacular. And so I said to her again, in my mind, I said, listen, if you're going to give this, I'll give it back to you. And, which was the first time that I ever had that conversation. And it was almost as though we had this agreement to be, nothing else mattered, right? None of the other dogs in the ring, none of the other handlers, who was a pro, who was the owner handler. I don't know this judge, what's she going to do? The travel across the country to get there. And it was a pretty dramatic journey, I must say. A lot of fun, but not without its drama, as dog show travel usually is. But yeah, that was the first time in the ring where I realized what goes on in the ring if you pay attention. And it happens at every show. If you watch carefully, those dogs that are in the winner's circle, we like to say that they got there lots of different ways. But if you really, really, really watch, you can see the magic. And if you're close enough to it, you can actually feel it. You can feel that exhibitor, that handler, and that dog just present together. And it doesn't just happen. What you're watching is you're watching years and years in the life of that dog. And you're watching years and years in the life of that dog and handler team. And you're watching an entire career's worth of experience in that exhibitor or that handler. And to me, it's really a privilege when that is happening right in front of you. And, I know this to be true, not only from my own experience, but in my position as a dog journalist, I have been fortunate to sit down and spend some time with people whose names we all know. We see them every week. We see them on social media. We see them in the magazine. And, I am fortunate enough to know some of these folks outside of their work day, if you will. And I have seen some of the dogs that have won the biggest shows on planet Earth when they were young and when they were being nurtured, if you will, when they weren't that best in show Westminster winner, or the World Dog Show winner or the Crufts winner, when they were just like my puppy and your dog, just raw material waiting to be partnered, supported, encouraged, just groomed, if you will, to become that show dog that we all see with the records. And hi, Lori, thank you for your comment that you're saying this is so true in obedience and rally as well. I'm sure it's true in everything that we do with our dogs, certainly everything competitive. But, and you're right, when you watch the Masters Agility or Obedience trial, you see that in action, don't you? You see the trust that dog has in that person and the trust that person has in their dog. It is a trust that's built on, the hard work and patience. My conversation with my friend this morning reminded me that, you don't just take this pup and expect the performance that her mother gave you or her grandmother or great grandmother. This is an entirely new puppy, a new project, a new partnership. And, it's going to take being present every step of the way. And you're going to take a step forward and two steps back. And, that's a lesson that I forget. Sometimes when you've been doing something for a while, you think you got it. You think you know how it's done. And then along comes a new dog, a new puppy that says, hold on there. I've got something else that you might want to consider or learn. Or I have a new challenge that's going to help you to tune out all these distractions and be present. I'm your dog. I'm here to give you an opportunity, to be present. And, being in the ring is often another opportunity to just be present. It's a hard thing to do when you've got to have an eye on where's the judge, on who's behind you, on who was the dog in front of me, where's the sun, where's the shade, where's that divot in the ground, all these things. And somehow you want me to be present in the moment. And you know what? Yes, that's what the quality handled dogs are showing us. They're showing us, all I have is here and now, right here today. My friend and I, we were talking this morning about, dogs that, contrary to what we think, they don't live in the past, and they're really not worried about tomorrow. They may be thinking about their next meal, but they're not dwelling on things. They are ready to always be present, and we can help them as they're helping us. And, I want to thank you, Jenna, for your comments. And again, Lori, I thank you. Betty, thank you as always. I don't know if this is the show that that you all were expecting. I'm not entirely sure it was the show that I was expecting, but I think without the dog show mentor, today's episode, would naturally be a bit different. I don't feel qualified to offer mentorship in this format. My role is that of a host, and but today you've allowed me to not only host the show, but also to kind of present really a monologue about lesson that I've learned in dogs. And I hope that maybe something that I've shared with you today is going to resonate with you. Maybe not now, but maybe there's going to be a moment later today, or maybe this weekend, or maybe 4 years from now, when you're going to feel that electricity coming up the lead, and you're going to say, wow, this is the moment. Be present. And, when it's happening, it's kind of easy to do. Once you're in that zone, you're in that zone. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Ginger. Thank you again, Betty. I want to remind everyone that we get together here every Wednesday. It's usually 3 p.m. Eastern time, 12 noon Pacific time. Lee will be back with us next week when she'll be asking you to tell us what you're looking for in a judge. So that should be interesting. I'm sure you all have opinions, so please share them with us. Let us know in the comments section. Reach out to us at ringready@showsitemagazine.com. And please also reach out to Megan, your client relationship manager. She is always available to discuss you and your dog's plans. Megan, I can tell you, is always present. She's extremely responsive, and I'm amazed at how she's able to respond and multitask, as we all do. But in her position as a working mom, that's especially impressive to someone like me. Megan also has a summer special that she'd love to share with you. So reach out to her and she'll tell you a bit more about that. The deadline for our next issue in August is the end of this month, Friday, July 30th. So if you're thinking about letting the world know about your dogs, I will tell you that, looking at a beautiful ad in a magazine is certainly another way to be present. I'm sure that you've seen ads where you just sort of stop and you say, this is really, this is really magic happening right here. Not only is the dog something that I'm going to be paying attention to, but look at what they're doing, and also look at this beautiful imagery, this photography, and the ad layout as well. All of that is something that really supports our efforts as owner handlers, and what better way to tell the world than in a venue like Ring Ready. So again, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you all. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you again, Megan. This has been really fun for me. I hope it's been the same for you. So until next week, try to be present. Take a deep breath always. When your puppy is really, really challenging you, breathe, have a conversation with him or her, and very softly let him or her know where you want to go together. And, I'll guarantee you that he or she will say, oh, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Here I am. I've shown up. So Lynn, Missy, thank you very much. So everyone, I couldn't be more happy with this conversation that I've enjoyed with you. It's been a lot of fun, as always. Looking forward to getting together again next week, and looking forward to seeing some of you at shows in the summer months. So best of luck to you all. And until we meet again, remember to not only be present, but remember to have fun with your dogs. So thanks, everyone. Bye.